Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gents. Guys, today we're talking about fear. The fear that stops us from doing everything. I recently got an email from one of you guys, and the guy was very open and honest with his mindset, I guess. As many of you guys know, my wife and I, my family, we live off-grid on a homestead. It's not something that we grew up doing, it's something that we achieved. The email that I received was from a guy who let me know that they really like what we do. They would love to be able to do the same, but honestly, they're just too scared to take the plunge. So I wrote him back, but guys, I think this is a good video because it's very important, and I'm going to tell you why. He's not alone on that mindset. He's not alone on those feelings of fear. Many people, most people, and I talk to a lot of people about this. I get this from a lot of people who want to do this, but they try to do this. They try to live off-grid, and they're trying to have a foot in on both sides. They're trying to maintain a life and a living on the grid while trying to figure out how to create and live a life off the grid. Now, for us, we jumped right into it. Just head first, nosedive, right into the world of off-grid living. We bought property, we sold everything else. We moved out there in an RV originally, stayed in an RV for a couple months while we built. We did not have the money to build an entire cabin finished. We didn't have it. What we knew we could do is get a shell up and some stuff done, not even a majority. Get a shell up, get a stove in there, and get to working on the cabin as more money rolled in from our jobs. What we didn't have anymore was all of the bills from that on-grid life. The power, the water, all of those bills, car payments, right? Sell everything, get rid of it, sell your nice new cars, go get a beater if you need to. Do what you need to do to live the lifestyle, because the lifestyle is freeing. Having those new cars and the payments are great, not the payments, but the car, but it's hindering, and you can't hang on to those chains while trying to shed those chains. So if your goal is self-sustainability, if your goal is self-reliance, you need to shed those chains, those binds that tether you to the on-grid world, like car payments, credit card payments. And I know that stuff's not easy, but what I'm talking about is cutting debt. You cut debt to be able to pay off your debt. You get out of debt so that you don't live a lifestyle of debt. And it creates more opportunity, financial freedom for you to be able to afford the lifestyle that you want. I would much rather spend 5-6 years building a home on land as opposed to paying off debt for 30 years hoping that I get a house. But my point was this, guys, is fear stops us from doing these things. I can tell you that I was afraid to fail. I didn't know if I could go live off-grid, never done it before. Didn't even know anyone who did it. Shelby and I were going out with no support system to rely on. We didn't have a neighbor that lived off-grid. We never met anyone who lived off-grid. We were going to just go and do it. So the fear of failing. With the fear of failing, I think most of the time, is the fear of worrying about what other people are going to think of you. We don't want to fail in front of other people. We don't want other people to know we are failures. We don't want other people to know that we fell on a hard time or hit a rocky road or whatever. For the most part, we don't flaunt our failures in front of people because that's embarrassing. Because we're trying to live up to the expectations of other people who we generally don't even like, and most of the times don't even know, which is very weird. But those fears, guys, those fears of failing, the fears of embarrassment, I guess you could call it, the fear of the unknown, which is huge. We get stuck in our routines. We get stuck in our routines of life. We get stuck in our comfort zones. We do comfortable stuff and we don't break outside those molds because we're too scared. Whether it's a promotion or it's a different job. I stayed at a job one time and I hated it, and it just clicked in my head that I'm staying in a job that I hate, but I was too scared to go out and get a different job. So there's that. But that fear of the unknown is what cripples many of us. So I can tell you guys that I had those fears as well, trying to move off grid. But the bigger fear that I had that trumped those other fears, that motivated me more to do something, was the fear of not truly living. It was the fear of maybe reaching retirement and knowing that I did not pursue a dream. Knowing that I was unable to do something. I've had a couple things in my life, goals, where I've wanted to do it. It's something I've wanted to do and I didn't do it. And what happens is that guilt eats at you. That regret eats at you. And to me, that is much, much worse of a regret, of a feeling of fear, than anything else. So the fear of not achieving the things you want to do. I can tell you guys this. The lessons that I have learned from just going for it has stuck with me throughout my entire life in all sorts of things that I choose to do. New things that I choose to try and do. Different stuff, different ventures, different goals. Really, really getting out and doing stuff that's outside your comfort level. I have learned that me personally, when that takes place, I do well. I excel at it. I have not failed at it. Now, that is important for a couple of reasons. One, it shows you that you can do so much more than you think you're capable of. And two, it shows you how crippling fear can be. How truly crippling the unknown, the fear of the unknown can be. So I'll tell you guys this. If you are planning on moving off the grid, or it is a goal of yours, or it is something that you want to do, living off grid is something you want to do, go for it. There is no better time than the present. Some places land prices are really high, but the opportunity is there to do it now. Go and do it. If it's something you think you can get away with, go and do it. If it's something that you can't do 100% outright, and you know you're going to have to work at it, or you're going to have some of the funds, but you're going to keep working and be able to build up funds, do it. Go and do it. Be willing to make those sacrifices, those short-term sacrifices, for that long-term gain. I have never met anyone who has moved off grid or lived a self-sustaining life that has regretted it, that wish they didn't do it. I know people who have moved off grid and then changed up their goals, or they've decided to go and do something else, but it's again just jumping into a new thing. It's again just jumping into a new lifestyle that's even crazier to try out because they realize they can do it. So that is my advice for you guys. Don't be afraid to fail. If you are afraid to fail, don't let it cripple you to the point that you don't do it. Many people operate inside their comfort level, their comfort zones. So don't let it hinder you. You can get a lot done when you're pushed to do it, when your back's against the wall, when maybe things aren't as comfortable for you. You're motivated to get it done for your family. Go live off grid. You'll figure out the systems that you need. It's not something where, for me, it's not something where you have everything planned out. You have all the answers ready. You're ready to go. You know what you're doing. You know what needs to be instilled in the homestead. You know what needs to be done. It's just not the way it works. The whole thing is a process. The whole thing is learning from mistakes, trial and error, figuring out what works and what works better, new products or new systems coming out, and then maybe stuff being available to you. So that is all I got for you guys. If you're thinking about moving off grid, go do it. If you're thinking about farming, go do it. If you're, whatever it is your dream is that you want to go do it. Don't be afraid to fail. Get in it and fail if need be. I'm pretty sure you'll probably do a pretty good job at succeeding. That's all I got for you guys. All right, guys, appreciate it. I'm at my destination. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and I'll catch you on the next one.